This is QTV News coming to you live from our studios on Kaiaba Avenue, and I am Jenna Basonko. Thanks for joining us. Here are the main news headlines. The National Youth Parliament of the Gambia swore in 64 parliamentarians on Monday at the commencement of its 9th ordinary session. Residents and motorists at Manjari have complained about the bad state of one of their major roads, which has become unusable during the rainy season. In business news, the Prime Minister of Japan has announced a $30 billion development fund for Africa at the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Tunisia. In international news, in Africa, healthy life expectancy has increased by 10 years since the millennium, according to a report from the WHO. And in sports news, the defeated candidate in Saturday's JFF presidential election, Sardi Bukamaso, told journalists that despite losing the presidency, he remains passionate about football. Well, those were the main headlines, and now the news in detail. Do stay with us. Thank you for joining us, and I am Jenna Basonko. You're watching QTV News. Now, the National Youth Parliament of the Gambia on Monday swears in 64 parliamentarians at the commencement of the 9th ordinary session for the year 2022. The event was held at the National Assembly Complex in Banjul. Loli M. Kamara witnessed the ceremony and fastened this report.
The historic moment brought together more than 60 parliamentarians from all regions of the country. The Speaker, Deputy Speaker and the rest of the members took the oath of allegiance to serve the affairs of the youth for the next 3 years. Omar Cham, the newly elected Speaker, highlighted the significance of the event, outlining some of the areas the young parliamentarians will investigate during Assembly sittings.
Would therefore give us the opportunity to critically assess the status quo of young people and as well the laws, the policies, and the initiatives that govern young people. As such, I am pleased to inform this August Parliament that in this session, we will discuss and debate on key matters confronting the lives and welfares and interests of young people of our dear motherland. It is paramount to note that the journey towards this glorious moment was not an easy one. It was marked with endless sacrifice, dedication and perseverance.
Speaker Cham called on the government through the Ministry of Youth and Sports and the National Youth Council to take youth matters seriously. Degen Job, the Deputy Speaker of the NYP, explained some of the procedures that have happened to bring them this far.
Exactly 1 year, 7 months from last year today, the National Youth Parliament called on Congress to elect its 9th Executive Council. 5 young enthusiastic leaders emerged to steer the affairs of the Youth Parliament for the next 3 years. With the leadership of Honorable Omar Cham, we built on efforts and exemplary work of our predecessors, make it paramount in our governance and development plan to reform, rebrand, and replenish the National Youth Parliament, for it to serve its intended purpose to the fullest.
Saturday, the UNDP residents representative in the Gambia congratulated members for the election or nomination and challenged the youth parliamentarians to participate fully as they discuss issues such as migration, climate change, health, social issues, illicit drugs, education, amongst others. Fatu M. Jao, former Deputy Speaker of the NYP, and Sambujam Conte, founding father of the NYP, both shared their experiences.
It was really great, but yet a daunting task to serve people, especially young people of this country.
The National Youth Parliament had its first engagement with the National Assembly of the Gambia on Wednesday, 10th July 2002, to brief them about the objective and the mission of the Gambia National Youth Parliament.
The Minister of Youth and Sports, Bakari Y. Baji, delivering the keynote speech, said the NYP has been one of the oldest existing youth organizations despite the many challenges of running the institution.
It is for this resilience and continued quest to empower young people to play their role in national development that us at the Ministry of Youth and Sports, through the National Youth Council, never hesitate to collaborate with them in our common goal of raising awareness about issues confronting young people, build capacities of the young people, empower communities, and advocate for the participation of young people in political and governance processes.
Sidi Eskenjai, Deputy Speaker of the National Assembly of the Gambia, on behalf of the Speaker, assured the new parliamentarians of their continuous support. Deputy Speaker Njai added that as young parliamentarians, they will be exposed to parliamentary procedures and processes, and they will learn how Parliament makes laws and debates their progress, which will help promote and shape them for future engagements in the Assembly. Honorable Alpha Yahya Bangura of Lower Fuladu and Honorable Omar Emba of Fonyi Jaro constituencies told us their plans for the young people.
We go through so many difficulties in the region. We have some problems with, let's say, a health center. We have some other problems we're facing. So I think it's a process. Like I said, it's a process. We start with the short-term problems, then we go to the ones that we can solve maybe in years to come.
Tomorrow, what I will be discussing firstly is about vocational skills. The unemployment rate in this country is alarming. If there is anything that the government should pay specific attention to is the unemployment rate and also the use of illicit drugs in this country.
Other dignitaries in attendance included government officials, EU representatives to the Gambia, members of the diplomatic corps, National Assembly members, and civil society organizations. For QTV News, Lolly M. Kamara.
Interesting. Now, congratulations to the 9th parliamentarians sworn in at the National Assembly today. Now, residents and motorists at Manjari have complained about the bad state of one of their major roads leading to Kololi. They say the roads has become unusable during this rainy season, affecting their businesses and daily movement. Omar Pijalo visited the community and fastened this report.
We observed that from Manjai Johnson leading to Kololi, the road is dotted with wide and deep potholes, making it difficult for commuters, private cars and commercial vehicles plowing the road. According to residents, most of the drivers who used to ply the road have stopped doing so to avoid damaging their vehicles. This has caused transportation issues difficult for residents who find it hard to run their daily errands. Samba Job, a taxi driver, said it is extremely dangerous driving on the road, especially at night, adding that the situation has worsened during the rainy season. This road has always been a challenge for drivers, especially in the rainy season. I personally don't ply this road during rainy season because it might damage my vehicle. If motorists are not careful, it can damage their vehicles. During the rainy season, the road is not usable by motorists and things are getting worse because we have to take a long diversion to avoid getting stuck in the water. We are appealing to the authorities to help us. Amikole Jeng, a Manjai resident, said the state of the road has become a serious challenge for motorists, motorcyclists and residents.
Anytime it rains, the road is usually flooded, making it difficult for cars and motorcycles. The lack of proper drainage system has caused a lot of problems and it is affecting the health and well-being of the people.
Ami Jallo, who has a tailoring shop in the area, complains that the horrible and deplorable state of the road has affected local businesses.
The stagnant water is really affecting our businesses. A few days ago, I traveled for 5 days. When I came back, I found my shop filled with water and all the clothes are destroyed. I had to refund my customers. This is not good for my young business. If nothing is done about this place, our customers will be forced to go away. Because why would they come here when they can go to other tailors with better access road?
Matilda Njai, who works at a nearby Bureau de Sands, said because of the bad road and stagnant water, her customer numbers has dropped as some are not willing to come to an area flooded with potholes.
It's really affecting the Bureau because when it rains heavily, it's very difficult for customers to pass through to come inside the office. So sometimes we have cases like where, customers can even fall down, which is not really good. So during the rainy season, it's really difficult to have customers because due to the bad area. Well, I will appeal to the authority to make sure they construct the roads very well, like make it in a way that you know that the water can go through the gutters and everything, because I can feel that there's no gutter. That's why the water is just like floating and going, stuff like that. So if we have a gutter, it will be much more better.
Some of the residents has resorted to making walkways from their doorstep to the main road to avoid the stagnant water and the potholes. They appeal to the authorities to fix the road and make life bearable and better for them. Reporting for QTV News, I am Omar P. Jallo.
Unfortunate from that story by Omar P. Jallo. We will now go for a short commercial break, and when we come back, we have some more local news stories for you, international as well as sports. Do stay tuned.
The Ministry of Health, in collaboration with partners, will be embarking on an other countrywide COVID-19 vaccination campaign from 11 to 28 August 2022. Vaccination teams will be deployed to public places such as community bantabas, health facilities, schools, markets, crossing points, and other strategic locations. All eligible people aged 12 and above are encouraged to come out and be vaccinated. Vaccination teams will be administering 3 types of vaccines, namely Johnson & Johnson, Pfizer, and Sinopharm, all of which are safe and effective in preventing severe COVID-19 infection, hospitalization, and death. For more information, call the ministry's toll-free number 1025.
Money, the biggest mobile money service in the Gambia, has taken mobile banking to the next level. Now, you can link your Q Money wallet with your bank account. Yes, link your Ajib or EcoBank accounts with your Q Money wallet and get instant access to your cash anytime. No need to queue at the bank anymore. Transfer funds from your bank account to your wallet or your wallet to your bank account using Q Money Bank Link is the fastest, most secure, and convenient way to transfer funds between your wallet and bank account. For more information, call our customer care on 133. Q Money, Sunyu Kalpe. Terms and conditions apply.
Now, welcome back from that short commercial break. If you're just tuning in, you're watching QTV News. And now let's take a look at what's happening in business. The Prime Minister of Japan has announced a 30 billion development fund for Africa at the Tokyo International Conference on African Development in Tunisia. President Adama Barrow was among other African leaders at the 2-day event, which was held on the 27th and 28th August. More in this report by Babukar Sise.
Tokyo International Conference on African Development, TICAD, is the Japanese government initiative which started in 1993, co-hosted by UN, UNDP, the World Bank, and African Union Commission. This is the second time this high-profile meeting is being held in Africa after Kenya in 2016. The event was hosted and co-chaired by President Said of Tunisia. It was attended by President Macky Sall of Senegal, who is chairperson of the African Union, and other leaders of African countries, heads of international organizations, and business people. Addressing the participants through Zoom, Fumio Kishida, Prime Minister of Japan, said his country aspires to be a partner growing together with Africa by contributing strongly to the development of Africa and by overcoming challenges. Japan's Prime Minister announced a $30 billion fund as contribution by Japanese public and private financial institutions to be invested in Africa for African development over the next 3 years. Among the development projects for Africa will be the launch of a $4 billion Japan's Green Growth Initiative with Africa to improve the quality of people's lives, and 10 billion Japanese yen provided by the Japanese business community as an investment fund for startups to support entrepreneurship. human resource development of 300,000 professionals to support the future of Africa. $5 billion provided through cooperation with the African Development Bank for the comprehensive development of the private sector. $1.8 billion for the Global Fund for Tackling Infectious Diseases. Food assistance of $130 million for building resilient and sustainable societies to mitigate rising food and energy prices, as well as co-financing of a $300 million loan for the African Emergency Food Production Facility of the African Development Bank. On the sidelines of the conference, Japan's Minister of Foreign Affairs, Yoshimasa Hayashi, together with President Said of Tunisia, President Macky Sall of Senegal, and Nakatani Shinichi, Japan's trade minister, participated in a ceremony commemorating the signing of more than 90 memorandums of understanding between 29 Japanese companies and 4 organizations and partners from African countries and others. President Adama Barrow said to fully harness the enormous potential of our youthful and diverse population, startup support is urgently needed to explore green businesses and other development opportunities. Amid the current global crisis caused by the coronavirus pandemic, climate change and conflicts, President Barrow commended the government and people of Japan for assuming greater prominence in the collective endeavor to build resilient economies, communities and environmental systems. President Barrow also spoke about the poverty and inequality that continue to ruin communities in Africa, coupled with economic hardship and disruption of international trade and issues of nationalism, unequal disaster financing, tougher terms of lending and other drivers of underdevelopment. He further stated that it is imminent to strengthen international solidarity around resilient building and sound integrated approaches to development financing. President Barrow thanked Kais Saied, President of Tunisia, for hosting this event and for the warm welcome accorded to the Gambian delegation. He also thanked Fumio Kishida, Prime Minister of Japan, for the honor of participating in this important summit. The next TICAD 9 will be held in Japan in 2025.
From that story by Babukar Sise, we will now take a look at what is happening beyond our borders. Now, people in Africa could expect to live an average of 56 years in good health in 2019, which is 10 years longer than at the turn of the millennium. No other region of the world has experienced such a significant increase in healthy life expectancy. More in this report by Mahmoud Mbouch.
The continent has defied the odds to lead the world in healthy life expectancy. This was revealed in a WHO assessment report published this month. The report shows that healthy life expectancy, or the number of years an individual is in a good state of health, increased to 56 years in 2019 compared to 46 in 2000. While still well below the global average of 64, over the same period, global healthy life expectancy increased by only 5 years. WHO officials and other health experts attribute the gains to increased universal health coverage on the continent, which increased across the region by an average of 22 points on a scale of 0 to 100, rising to 46 in 2019, up from 24 in 2000. According to Dr. Matshidiso Moyeti, WHO Regional Director for Africa, the sharp rise in healthy life expectancy during the past 2 decades is a testament to the region's drive for improved health and well-being of the population. But the progress must not stall. Unless countries enhance measures against the threat of cancer and other non-communicable diseases, the health gains could be jeopardized. Sustainable financing, according to experts, remains a major challenge for the 47 sub-Saharan countries that belong to WHO's Africa region. Only 7 of these countries, Algeria, Botswana, Cape Verde, Eswatini, Gabon, Seychelles, and South Africa, fund more than 50% of their national health budgets. The COVID-19 pandemic could also undermine the gains. The current report's data ends at 2019. The COVID years were not captured by the data. Unless robust catch-up measures are instituted, the next survey could record a reversal, WHO warns. The pandemic also exposed a lack of investment in health, according to Health Policy Watch, and that finance ministers and economic planning ministers have a vested interest to ensure the public health outbreaks are contained, and that equipment and the test kits are available and produced locally, so they also contribute to economic growth. Access has improved, according to another expert. But the second question is access also affordable? Many households still have to spend more than 10% of their budgets on their health, a threshold the WHO defines as catastrophic. In this country, registrations are ongoing for National Health Insurance Scheme, which should considerably improve access to healthcare and affordability. Some experts expect healthy life expectancy to continue growing across Africa. The gains and improvements can probably be sustained, says one of them. There may be interruptions, but I expect a situation where Africa visibly continues to catch up with the global average. For QTV News, I'm Mamadou.
This is great news. Now from that story by Mamadou Mboj, let's take a look at what is happening in the world of sports. Now, the defeated candidate in Saturday's GFF presidential election, Sardi Bukamaso, told journalists that despite losing the presidency, he remains passionate about football. He was speaking to reporters shortly after the election results were declared. Our sports reporter, Mamadou Gajaga, was there and fastened this report.
Despite losing the GFF presidency to Lamin Kababajo, Sardi Bukamaso says he remains resolute and more passionate about Gambian football. Kamaso was speaking to reporters in the aftermath of the election. He also made allegations against the Electoral Committee in the conduct of the election.
We don't want to coerce anybody. We do not want to induce anybody. We sell our agenda. If they're happy with the agenda, they can buy it. If they're not happy with the agenda, and this is a stakeholder who are actually giving us their, their vote. They would call me that they needed votes, they need balls, or we are with you. So if they do that, I have to respect their decision. And I'm happy that they've done that, and it's actually exposed that somebody has done that. It just teaches us the lesson that there are some people you just cannot trust. So we're good to go.
Kamaso and his team restored confidence, were hopeful of winning prior to voting. According to Kamaso, they canvassed for votes by meeting and talking to the stakeholders, sold their agenda to them. The stakeholders decided to vote for Kababajo instead.
The whole country wanted us to come in, but the stakeholders, who are 77, want this team to serve, and they've done that. They've spoken. Whatever we enjoy through this period, we can all enjoy that because we are all in this game, and it is only honorable for people to come out when the need arises for you to make a change. That's what we had offered, because the excruciating pain we have suffered in our football from 2014 to date has been manifestly evident. So if stakeholders decide to go otherwise, when they look at you in the eye to tell you you have our vote and decide otherwise, we can only respect their decision. And I respect their decision that the stakeholders have done that. But that doesn't mean we're not going to challenge the irregularities that have transpired today.
Despite Gambia's maiden AFCON qualification, there is much lacking in the domestic game. The political football for the GFA presidency is over. Now it remains to be seen what Lamin Kababajo and his team will do to improve Gambian football. Mamadou Gajaga, QTV News.
From that story by Mamadou Gajaga, let's recap our main headlines. The National Youth Parliament of the Gambia swore in 64 parliamentarians on Monday at the commencement of its 9th ordinary session. Residents and motorists at Manjari have complained about the bad state of one of their major roads, which has become unusable during this rainy season. And in business news, the Prime Minister of Japan has announced a $30 billion development fund for Africa at the Tokyo International Conference on African Development held in Tunisia. And in international news, in Africa, healthy life expectancy has increased by 10 years since the millennium, according to a report from the WHO. And in sports news, the defeated candidate in Saturday's GFF presidential election, Sardi Bukamaso, told journalists that despite losing the presidency, he remains passionate about football. Well, that is all we have for you in this edition of QTV News. Don't forget to join us at 10 p.m. for another bulletin. Thanks for watching.